The disease mouthwash was built to cure did not exist. In 1879, Listerine was a surgical antiseptic, meant for wounds, not breath. It drifted for decades without a purpose. Then someone found an obscure word buried in a medical dictionary, and millions of Americans became terrified of a condition they had never heard of. That word was halitosis, but the fear it exploited was far older than the bottle. For thousands of years, humans have lived in quiet terror of their own breath. Long before modern corporations turned bad breath into a clinical emergency, ancient cultures went to extreme lengths to police oral odors. In ancient Egypt, people mixed honey and charcoal into rudimentary pastes. In India, Ayurvedic texts recommended oil pulling with sesame oil, while traditional Chinese practitioners favored rinses of green tea. But no society went further than the Romans. Citizens routinely rinsed their mouths with human urine, relying on the natural ammonia to scrub teeth and neutralize foul smells. The Roman writer Pliny the Elder even cataloged the practice as a legitimate hygiene remedy. This ancient obsession reveals a clear reality. The dread of smelling bad was never a modern creation. The underlying social anxiety, the silent fear of rejection over a foul exhale, had existed for millennia. It was a raw nerve waiting to be exposed, eventually exploited by a product searching for a purpose. In 1879, Dr. Joseph Lawrence formulated a harsh, amber-colored liquid in St. Louis. This pungent blend of eucalyptol, menthol, methyl salicylate, and thymol in a 70% alcohol base was never intended for morning hygiene. Lawrence named his invention Listerine to borrow prestige from Sir Joseph Lister, the English surgeon who pioneered antiseptic operating rooms. This was a serious, medical-grade germicide designed to sterilize surgical wounds and clean instruments. But Lawrence was a chemist, not a businessman. He licensed the formula to Jordan Wheat Lambert, a local drugstore owner who founded the Lambert Pharmacal Company to sell it. Together, they held a powerful chemical agent that nobody wanted to buy. Operating rooms preferred cheaper carbolic acid, leaving this new antiseptic without a single clear, everyday problem to solve, until the owners began searching for a word that would change everything. With operating rooms shutting their doors, the Lambert Pharmacal Company spent the next few decades throwing their amber liquid at any problem they could find. In 1885, they pitched it as a hardwood floor cleaner, suggesting a diluted rinse to scrub away dirt. By 1893, advertisements rebranded the surgical scrub as a scalp tonic to cure dandruff. When that failed to capture a loyal market, they pushed it as a soothing gargle for sore throats. They even marketed it to physicians as an internal treatment for gonorrhea. It was a chemical solution in search of a problem, desperately looking for any niche that would stick. But none of these dubious claims could spark a national habit, leaving the company with a product still searching for its true victim. In 1924, Gerald Lambert, the son of the company's founder, was flipping through an old copy of William H. S. Morrison's 1892 A Dictionary of Medical Terms. There, buried among the clinical descriptions, he found a word: halitosis. For decades, the medical community had used this dry term to describe basic oral malodor. It carried no social weight, no panic, and no shame. It was simply a clinical label. But Lambert and his marketing director, Harvey Miller, saw an opportunity. Instead of changing their harsh, amber-colored liquid, they would change how people viewed their own breath. By pulling this obscure word from the pages of a dictionary, the Lambert Pharmacal Company rebranded ordinary bad breath as a dreaded medical disease. The true cruelty of the strategy lay in its invisibility. The marketing campaigns warned people that they could be carrying this social death sentence right now, completely unaware, while everyone around them secretly judged them. To orchestrate this social terror, the company hired N.W. Ayer and Son, the nation's largest advertising agency. The creative team, led by copywriter John M. Miller and art director Leon K. Rogers, realized they did not need to sell the chemical strength of the liquid. Instead, they sold the agony of silent exclusion. In the February 1925 issue of Ladies' Home Journal, they published a print ad featuring a weeping young woman. The headline read, "Often a bridesmaid, never a bride." The copy targeted a raw social vulnerability. It suggested that a woman's intelligence, beauty, and charm were worthless if her breath carried the invisible, offensive odor of halitosis. Worse, the ads warned that friends and suitors would never tell her. They would simply walk away, leaving her isolated and abandoned. This was not an appeal to hygiene, it was a deliberate exploitation of romantic rejection. The product on the shelf remained a harsh, amber-colored surgical wash, but the commodity being sold was the terrifying threat of a lonely, unloved future. In 1925, the Lambert Pharmacal Company recorded a modest revenue of $112,000. By 1930, sales surged to $7.2 million, the equivalent of roughly $135 million today. Yet the liquid inside the bottle had not changed by a single drop. It was the exact same harsh, 70% alcohol blend of eucalyptol, menthol, methyl salicylate, and thymol, patented in 1879. The company did not improve the formula, they engineered a new social habit. They took a drifting specialty surgical scrub and cemented it as an indispensable daily ritual. This was the ultimate business victory. They had installed a permanent cycle of anxiety and repeated consumption inside the American bathroom. Advertisers quickly realized the Lambert Company had mapped out a highly repeatable psychological formula. Isolate a normal bodily function, label it a social crime, and sell the only escape. This insecurity-first architecture became the foundation of modern consumerism, teaching corporations to sell the shame first and the cure second. By 1933, agencies applied this exact playbook to mum deodorant, launching campaigns that warned women of the dangers of undetected sweat. Odorono followed, threatening social disgrace over perspiration, while Lifebuoy soap weaponized the fear of body odor to force consumers to check their own underarms. Trade journals like Printers Inc. openly analyzed this shift, recognizing that selling inadequacy was infinitely more profitable than selling utility. It established a permanent industry standard, one that continues to govern how we are sold toothpaste, skincare, and self-worth today. Strip away the decades of marketing panic, and the clinical reality looks entirely different. The American Dental Association notes a stark divide between genuine, chronic halitosis and ordinary, transient bad breath. True chronic halitosis affects about 25% of adults, usually stemming from underlying periodontal disease. For everyone else, a splash of harsh antiseptic rinse offers nothing more than a temporary cosmetic mask. Clinical trials show that these alcohol-heavy formulas reduce volatile sulfur compounds for only 30 to 60 minutes before odor levels return to baseline. Worse, contemporary research suggests that rinsing daily with aggressive germicides can backfire. Recent longitudinal studies reveal that these harsh antiseptics indiscriminately wipe out beneficial oral bacteria, specifically reducing commensal streptococcus species and lowering microbial diversity. By attempting to sterilize a delicate ecosystem, daily use can actually disrupt the mouth's natural defenses. Ultimately, the long history of the rinse reveals a simpler truth: a highly profitable industry built not on solving a medical necessity, but on inventing a fear and selling the cure. Every morning, we still spit a manufactured fear into the sink. The industry didn't just sell us mouthwash, they sold us our own insecurity. A century later, we're still buying. What other everyday products do you think are built on lies? Let us know below.